It was a regular day in December 1983. Everyone was getting Christmas decorations and preparing for the jolly time of the year, and snow was beginning to fall. William Afton still struggling to cope with the loss of his son Evan Afton, who had died of wounds from a bite to the head from the animatronic Fredbear made by Henry Emily, while Spring Bonnie was made by William. The boy had gotten into this incident when his older brother and William's eldest son, Michael Afton, and his friends picked up the crying child to play a little prank on him. But it had not went on according to plan. William was in his house alone. His daughter Elizabeth was in her room playing with her dolls, while Michael was in his room and, well, grounded. William paced around the living room, still clearly trying to process all that had happened to Evan that day. That visit to the hospital? It was the last time he saw him. He missed him, there was no doubt about that. But he just couldn't bear to see Michael's face. After all, he did murder Evan, but he was his son. However, why would that matter to him anyways? Why would he ever love him again? William thought to himself, and decided to go to Fredbear's on his own. Elizabeth heard the door open, and rushed down, her little legs struggling not to trip from her speed, her ginger hair flying around as she sped down the stairs. With a confused look on her face, Elizabeth asked, "Daddy, where are you going?" "I'm going to work, Elizabeth," William replied, with a look of resentment on his face. He was in no mood to deal with the other child in the house. He gave her a gentle pat on the head and left without any other word to soothe the girl. As William got into his car, he felt a rush of shakiness, which was nothing new for him. He had always felt shaky, ever since day one, but the shakiness was rather different. He felt he was being pushed away by his own fears. Why? He thought. Why am I being such a coward? He thought again. I'm just going to visit Spring Bonnie, he convinced himself, even knowing full well it was more than a visit. He got in the car and started the engine and drove off, hoping to calm himself down. The sky was getting dark, and Henry was about to close up the restaurant before noticing William. He was confused, but nonetheless still wanted to see if his friend was okay. "Well, why are you here now? I thought you were staying off for the month. Besides, I'm closing up the place anyway," the man said with worry and confusion in his expression. William replied with a fake chuckle, and put his hand on Henry's shoulder. "Oh, Henry. Stop worrying about me so much. Besides, you know I get over things quickly," William said while trying to put on a smile for his friend. Are you sure, bud? You don't seem like your usual self." "Well, you've not been like you usually are. At least, not since Evan's death," Henry says as he adjusts his glasses and takes William's hand off his shoulder. "I'm worried about you, Will. If something's wrong, why not tell me?" William was like a lion, ready to pounce, just by hearing Henry's words. He didn't like being treated like he's helpless and in need of help. He tried to stop himself, but before he knew it, harmful words were coming out of his mouth like a flood that was impossible to calm. "Henry, I don't need your fucking help right now, alright? Stop acting like a therapist and go home. I have work to do. You understand me?" William snapped at Henry as the older yet shorter man looked away in surprise and fear, but nonetheless, he tried to help his friend. "But William, I'm just trying to help you," Henry says, but he's cut away by William's return. "I said, do you understand me?" the man shouted in a voice of raw frustration. His face red like a tomato as he was resisting the urge to slap Henry. Without a word, Henry nodded and left to his car, which had Charlotte inside, waiting for her dad. William stared at the little girl in disgust and jealousy, yet sadness. Henry has a perfect wife, a perfect job, and perfect children. Meanwhile, William, he has a dead wife, a dead child, and a very serious alcohol problem. Yeah, I think there's more than just an alcohol problem, but okay. It was unfair that Henry has this perfect family and William doesn't. God. William walked inside the restaurant with the keys he had grabbed when Henry wasn't looking. "You sneaky. He went into the office and grabbed a small blade he kept in one of the drawers. Uh-oh! He then aimed the blade to his arm and scraped it across as blood began to form from the cuts. William had tears flickering in the back of his eyes as he watched carefully as he continued this action. Before cleaning the blade, putting it back in the drawer, and benches the wounds he had inflicted on himself. There. It's not much, but it'll do. William said to himself before noticing a picture of Henry, Ellie, aka Mrs. Emily, and Charlotte and Sammy. He looked at the photo with resentment and anger. He grabbed a pen and scribbled out Charlotte as he thought to himself, "Let's see how Henry will feel when his precious daughter is gone," he says with a smile on his face. William leaves the restaurant and closes up with the key, and gets in his car and drives as he begins the way home. He smiles to himself as he's got a plan for the upcoming events he'll be causing. If I can't have a perfect family, no one can, he thought. Not even Henry.